Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I am, as of Wednesday, the new Lower Paxton Township Manager, arriving here to take the place of retiring George Wolf. So in traditional fashion, I will quickly give a brief overview of tonight's business meeting agenda, for which you have all shown up to attend tonight. Under old business, the Board of Supervisors will be considering Ordinance 18-05, amending Chapter 68 of the Codified Ordinances regarding the feeding of wildlife animals. Under new business, there are a number of change orders that the board will consider, presented by Mr. Bill Kick. Also, there will be action taken on the 2019 Municipal Domestic Animal Protective Services Agreement with the Humane Society. Then action will be taken by the board accepting a grant from the PA Commonwealth Financing Authority, Greenway Trails and Recreation Program for the Brightville Park improvements. That is the agenda for tonight, and the board is ready and prepared to begin the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. Welcome, everybody, and I'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Board of Supervisors to order. And I'd like to ask everyone to please stand, and Mr. Zumas, if you would be so kind as to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will move now to approval of minutes from the meetings of May 15th, May 29th, and June 5th of 2018. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the minutes of May the 15th, 2018, the minutes of May the 29th, 2018, and the minutes of June the 5th, 2018 is prepared and circulated.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I would like to announce that prior to this meeting, the Board of Supervisors met in executive session to receive information from the Township Manager and from the Township's Public Safety Director. We will also be meeting with the Township Manager following the meeting to discuss personnel and legal issues. With that, it is time for public comment, and our procedure here is that public comment now would be for any item not on the agenda this evening. What we do is whenever we get to a specific item on the agenda, once the board has had its discussion, we then have public comment. So is there anybody who would like to address the board on an item not on the agenda this evening? Would anybody like to address the board on an item not on the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, the chairman has no comments other than to congratulate our Parks and Rec Department, the Greenways Committee, and everyone who was involved with the Fall Festival that we had last Saturday. It was a tremendous event. Despite the wet weather that we experienced, everybody seemed to have a great time. So thank you to everyone who was involved in that. Do board members have any comments?
Okay,
Go ahead.
I do. All right, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, I'm done.
I wanted to congratulate South Central EMS. They received the CARES Award, and the CARES Award was given to 122 EMSs in Pennsylvania. So the CARES Award is Cardiac Arrest Registry to Enhance Survival. So congratulations to South Central EMS. South Central is our ambulance association that has between 4 and 5 rigs a day in Lower Paxton Township, and they do between 400 and 500 calls a month in Lower Paxton. I also wanted to thank everybody for voting for Officer Rex and Officer Chase. They are our canines. They were trying to get as many votes as possible for a grant. So hopefully all of the votes will help and we'll be able to get a grant for them. Also, the police department participated in Over the Edge for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. They raised $3,945. Public Safety Director Kashiba, Corporal Cook, Officer Brook, and PFC Kimmel participated from Lower Paxton, and they hung over the edge. I think it was 19 stories downtown Harrisburg. So, and also on November the 1st, I participated in the pit training with the Lower Paxton Police Department. So it was the precision immobilization technique out at Fort Indian Town Gap. And what an experience. If you guys get a chance to do it with them, we were out there for 4 hours. We had 2 hours of PowerPoint and then 2 hours of in the car. And what that is, it's teaching our officers, who will all be trained by the end of February. They'll be the only ones trained except for the state police. They're already trained in Dauphin County. And what this is in pursuant of a chase to limit the injury to anybody, and having any other cars involved, and also limiting our police cars not having a lot of damage. So I wanted to thank the police department for allowing me to participate in that. And I just wanted to thank everybody that helped with the Harvest Fest on Saturday, and especially the Community Engagement Committee for providing the $1,000 for the hay rides. That was one of my pet peeves during this Harvest Fest, and I didn't want anybody to pay, and they came forward with the money, and we had 342 riders. So thank you again to the Community Engagement Committee. I'm done. I just had a lot tonight.
That's okay. No problem. Thank you, Mrs. Lindsay. Any other member of the board have comment? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Godshall, your first manager's report.
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present my report tonight. Members of the board, you do have in your packets my report, taking a bit of a I guess, distinction from Mr. Wolf's typical procedure in actually providing a written report. I think that may be a good way for me to start getting in the habit of presenting things that I'm doing throughout the week. And so this week's report, as you can imagine, does not really provide much information.
You've been here one day.
But as you can see in the report, I do kind of just summarize what I've been up to over these past 3 days, really working with staff to catch me up to speed on ongoing projects. I got a chance to get out with our Public Works Director to do a tour of the township, the first time I've gotten a chance to really get out and get a semi-comprehensive tour of the township. So that was great. And then he also gave me the chance to tour his facility, which, of course, is amazing. And then also, I would like to report tonight that I am also working on an entry plan, which, in consultation with Mr. Chrisman and Mr. Wolf, and thank you, Mr. Chrisman, I'm going to be putting together this entry plan, and really over the next few weeks, meeting with over 40-some individuals, both internally and community wide, to get a feel for the township, to understand issues that are of importance to the township, and then finally culminating in a comprehensive report that outlines some of the issues that I see, from my perspective and from the community's perspective, with the concept to put together some goals and objectives. And that way we can then put together a timeline to make sure that, objectives are being met and goals have a foreseeable resolution. So that's my plan, my entry plan, that is, and I'll be working to put that together over the next, the next few weeks. Yeah.
So I gather from this that Mr. Chrisman has given you extensive homework to do. Once an educator, always an educator. Is that?
That's what they say, yeah.
Good. Well, welcome to Lower Paxton. We're glad you're here. We'll look forward to your weekly reports and also the plan.
Thank you.
With that, we will move to item 7 under old business. We have before us ordinance number 18-05, which would amend Chapter 68 of the codified ordinances by prohibiting the feeding of wild animals. So, before we move any further, Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes, I would like to recommend that this be tabled tonight. I did a little bit of research, and there is a nonprofit called Stilton Community Cats. They also take care of Stilton, Swadire Township, Susquehanna Township, and Lower Swadire Township. I personally feel that we need to do a little bit more investigating on this to see what their programs are. I would like Mr. Gutschall to contact these townships and get in writing what their programs are, what they're using, how the Stilton Cats nonprofit is helping them. And I do want to make everybody aware that we are going to resolve this, but I think that we need to do a little bit more checking into it, because once you do an ordinance, that ordinance is there. So if I may, I would like to make a motion to table this evening, have Mr. Gutschall, our manager, get in touch with the other townships. And also Derry Township, I was told today, has a community cats, which is a nonprofit also. So I would like if we could contact all of those townships, get it in writing, see what they're doing, and then we can go on from there and see what's happening before we actually look at this ordinance.
No, you may not.
So my motion is to table this, please.
Okay, we have a motion to table. Is there a second to the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will second the motion.
Okay, under rules, motion to table is non-debatable and is you cannot have discussion. We must just move directly to a vote. All in favor of tabling Ordinance 1805, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, the ordinance is tabled to a future meeting. And with that, we are going to move to new business. Item 8, we have change orders number 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And this relates to the agreement with Dolly Construction for the North Hawks Road Stormwater and Road Project. William Crick. Can you please come to the podium or this table, either one? Go to the podium. It's a little easier at the podium. And explain to us what's good. Could we have quiet, please, so we can hear Mr. Crick?
Sure, it's actually
Are you on?
There we go.
You're actually not Mr. Crick?
Well, I'm actually Bill Kick.
Kick.
Crick is close. I've heard
okay.
most variations of
I
it.
put an R in there.
That's okay.
Sorry, Bill.
Most people add an S at the end, but I hadn't heard Crick before, I don't think. Good evening, everyone. I think the only familiar face I see up here is Steve Stein. Steve, it's been a while. How are you? I have been the face behind this project that you all have not gotten to know, but I've been involved with it and managed it for from the design phase through construction. So I'm here tonight for a couple of reasons. To inform you about these change orders, first from the standpoint of process. You all approved an application for payment at your last meeting, which actually included the amounts delineated in this change order packet. This information was sent to the township at the same time, and somehow the application for payment got approved without these change orders being executed. So this is a housekeeping matter, really. This is not above and beyond what you have already authorized for payment. To speak specifically about these change orders, there is a net add that, as I said, was paid in the last application for payment of $4,022.54. The total changes, just by way of information, we did pretty well on this project. The total changes for this project came to $37,592. $30,000 of that is attributed to an elective overlay pavement that was done on Devonshire Road between Cove and Care. Outside of the overlay, the total is $7,548, which represents less than 1% of an increase of the original contract cost. So we did very well on change orders, and those changes are attributed to unforeseen subsurface conditions, simply digging around old infrastructure and trying to install new infrastructure. Okay. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, yes. You're talking about all 5 inclusive, as opposed to, are you going to do each one individually? Because there are 4 where there is an increase and 1 with a decrease.
Correct, yeah.
And I understand and I recognize that these are closeouts.
Correct.
So, okay, so my question, I guess, specifically is, are you going to address each one, or are you going to talk about them in a conglomerate?
Only going to address each one if you want me to. I can tell you that...
I don't need to unless other board members do.
Yeah. There is a net increase as a result of change orders 7 through 11 in the amount of $4,022.54. So there is a net increase as a result of these. If you have questions specifically about individual ones, I'd be happy to talk to those issues.
The information has been provided, Mr. Chairman. I'm fine.
Does any member of the board have a question about any of these proposed change orders?
The project's totally finished, right?
It is totally finished, yeah.
So this is
The whole purpose here is to close out the project, and that's with these five
Correct.
change orders.
That's right. These are quantities
Right.
reconciliation change orders primarily.
so this would be the end of the change orders then for this project. It'll be
Right. And as I said, this amount was already incorporated into the final payment for application for payment. So you don't owe any additional money above and beyond what you've already authorized.
Good. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, with permission, I'm going to make the motion, but I will include change orders 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 as one motion, as opposed to doing them individually, if you have no objection. All right, with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve change orders, and I will do them with the respective amounts. Change order number 7, which is an increase of $33,390. Change order number 8 is for an increase of $1,204.64. Change order number 9 with an increase of $5,416.77. With change order number 10, there's a decrease. Those are always the best. A decrease of $33,390. And for project 11, there is an increase of $30,043.96 as presented by Mr. Kick.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Zumas. Any questions from board members? Any public questions or comments on the change orders? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kick.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That takes us to item B under new business. We have before us action on the 2019 Municipal Domestic Animal Protective Services Agreement. Mr. Gottschall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This agreement is similar as year 2018, with one positive exception to that fact. Last year, the agreement was in the amount of $2,082.38. This year, we have seen a decrease in the agreement to the amount of $1,722.38, which is a reflection of the Humane Society's experience in the level of service provided to Lower Paxton Township in regard to the collection of certain dogs within the township that have been provided to them by the police department specifically. And so the remainder of the agreement is in totality the same exact as 2018 with that minor exception.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Gottschall, do we have to pay the non-refundable contracting fee, the $250? So that'll be added on top of that? Okay.
Correct.
No. That's right.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he said yes.
I'm not sure they heard at the other end of
Yeah.
the table. Any other board member
We're saying it
questions or
was yes.
comments on the proposed contract? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will move we approve the agreement for the Municipal Domestic Animal Protection Service Agreement with the Humane Society of Harrisburg, subject to review by solicitor.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Bless you.
You okay?
Okay, that now takes us to a very happy and positive
Absolutely.
action that we need to take. We have received a grant from the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Financing Authority Greenway Trails and Recreation Program for Brightville Park improvements. Mr. Gottschall, want to tell us what we're doing there?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as mentioned, the CFA is providing the township with this grant in the amount of $200,000, specifically for the purpose of, I believe, phase 2 of construction of Heroes Grove improvements related to the addition of a roof and then also some other improvements there prior to Phase 3 and any other further construction projects that occur there. So this is simply the opportunity for the board to accept this grant and continue to move along with these phases.
I thought this was for Phase 3.
No, this is
No, it's for Phase 2?
the complete phase 2.
It's
Complete Phase 2, okay.
Phase 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
thinking back to our meeting Monday, what
Yeah,
was
phase
included.
3 is the concessions in the
Yes.
restaurant.
This is for Phase 2.
Phase 2, okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, it's always gracious, and we have the opportunity to accept money. So,
We'll take the 200,000.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'll move to accept the grant.
Yeah,
Oh,
before you make the motion, Mr. Henry, would you just like to explain, because 3 of us do sit on that committee, but we are, because of prior, we were able to vote.
Well, I did ask Mr. Stein about this. 3 of us, Mr. Zumas, Mrs. Lindsay, and myself, sit on the Heroes Grove Committee, and I asked Mr. Stein whether this placed us in a conflict of interest situation. And Mr. Stein indicated that since we are not applying for the grant, we're simply receiving it. It does not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, I just wanted the public
No,
to know.
I think
so.
it's good for folks to know that. We also would point out that Heroes Grove is a nonprofit from which none of us derive any financial or any other benefit personally. This money is a state grant that will go to Phase 2 of Heroes Grove. And if you haven't been to Heroes Grove, I certainly encourage you to go over and see it in Breakville Park.
So what is the work that entailed by Phase 2?
The roof, the electrical box is going to be enclosed.
Are there some flagpoles involved in this phase? Or
There's
is
some
that
steps.
Yes.
Steps that are planned to go in.
steps.
Yeah,
So
some
the roof is
flagpoles.
the big thing.
The
Roof
roof
is a
It's the
big
big
thing,
thing.
yes.
Amphitheater.
The
That's the big
amphitheater.
part.
And lighting for the stage.
Okay.
That's it.
The vast majority of people probably still haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
So it's good that we explain what this money's going to be used for.
And if you haven't been to Heroes Grove, it's at Brightville Park. It's situated right beside the Friendship Center, so it's at the top part of Brightville Park. We've had weddings there. We do outdoor movies there. We do concerts there. The first Saturday of the month, or the first Saturday, of May, for the past 3 years, R.J. Harris has held Support the Troops there also. So you can rent it, and maybe you just want to go there and sit and watch the clouds. It's very, very relaxing. It's a good place to go and meditate. So you can park right beside Joanne Fabrics. You don't have to park down at Brightville Park. You can park up. And we do have flags there. There are some benches there. I know another thing that's going to be with Phase 2, we're going to be putting some tape. We did have a couple people fall at some at the concerts this year, so there will be some tape put across just to allow people so they know that there is a drop. So it's very beautiful. So if you have a chance, please go and see it.
The taping will be affixed to there's a hard time for some people to differentiate between where the steps are and where the seats are because it steps down, and that's the safety issue with
Yep.
the tape. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready to accept the money yet?
I am very eager to accept it, Mr. Christmas.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we accept the grant from the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Financial Authority for Greenway Trails Recreational Programs for Brightville Park in the amount of $200,000.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any additional discussion or public comment on the grant? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That then takes us to improvement guarantees, development agreements, et cetera. We have what, 4, I believe?
We have 4, 2 reductions, 1 new, and there are 3 reductions and 1 new one. If there are no objections, Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the 4 improvement guarantees as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Judd. Any comment or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Very good. That brings us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Madam Treasurer.
Yes, I make a motion that we pay the bills for Lower Paxton Township, the Lower Paxton Township P card from June 28th, check register, Lower Paxton Township P card June 2018 remittance, the bills for Lower Paxton Township Authority, Lower Paxton Township Authority June 28th check register, and Lower Paxton Township Authority June 18th remittance.
So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody have any announcements?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. For those that may not be aware, the bridge on Old Jonestown Road is now open,
Good.
and the traffic is flowing much nicer in that
We
way.
have a happy resident sitting in the front row.
We're very pleased.
On time and on budget. It was a PennDOT
Yes,
project schedule, but I like to give credit where credit was due. It's on
considering the
budget
weather
on
and the
time.
amount of rain.
Anybody with kids trying to get to CD High
rained?
School, this will
It
be.
rained.
Yeah. Yes. So it's good. It's good news. We have a bridge and we have a grant. So
Right.
also, so everybody's aware, our next meeting will be a workshop meeting, which will be next week on Tuesday, November 13th, here at 7 p.m. Any other business from the board? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a
Second.
second? Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, Lynn. How are you? Yeah, long time no see. How are you? Good to see you.